All right, here we go. All right, factoring trinomials. What happens if there's a number in front of the x squared and it doesn't factor out? So here's what you're going to do. We have ax squared plus bx plus c. So you're going to find the product of a times c. So this is your a, here's your b, and c is the number at the end. So 3 times 10 is 30. And I wanted to add up to the b value. So hopefully this will, after I do a few of these, it'll come back to you. But I still need to remember step 1, which is look for the GCF. But there is no GCF. So you take 3 times 10 is 30. And I want to know what two numbers multiply to 30 but add to 17. So if I take 1 times 30, that adds to 31. If I take 2 times 15, hey, that works. I got it on my second try. So watch what we're going to do. We're going to take the middle term, and this is called split the middle. So let me have you write it down, and I need you to stop and think here, because if you don't know why we're doing this, then you won't be able to do it on your own. So let me just pause here. This is I like to call it the magic pair that works, okay? 2 times 15 multiplies to 30, but when I add 2 plus 15, it's 17. There's only one way to factor. There is not 2 different answers for factoring, besides switching the order, okay? There's only one way to factor. You can't say, oh, I got these different numbers. Then either you forgot the GCF or you didn't check your work when you factored. So look, 17x, I'm splitting to 2x plus 15x. But it's the magic pair that's going to end up doing this for me. So watch. Once you do this, you look at the first 2 terms. What's the GCF of the first 2 terms? Just an x. So that's 3x plus 2. Write down the middle operation sign. There's 3 operation signs, a plus, plus, plus. So you write down the middle one, and then you pull out the GCF from the last 2 terms. What is the GCF from 15x and 10? 5. And that's 3x plus 2. At this point, the parentheses should be the same. If they're not, you have made a mistake. That's kind of your red flag. You've made a mistake. So now I have a common factor in this row. The common factor is 3x plus 2. I'm pulling both out, okay? I'm pulling both of them out. And what remains is x plus 5. Now, I know the video is silly, the Teach Me How to Factor video. It's silly, but it echoes in my brain, and I'm hoping it's starting to echo in your brain, is that it said at the very end of the video, check your work when you factor. 3x times x, 3x squared. 15x plus 2x is 17x. 2 times 5 is 10. I checked it, and I know I'm right. You don't ever need to ask me if you've done these correctly, because you can tell yourself if you check it with FOIL. All right, so let's look at number 1 here. Step 1, is there a GCF? Can I pull something out of all 3 terms? No. Then we're going to do A times C. So I'm looking for 2 numbers that multiply to negative 33, but are going to add up to 32. Let's just refresh some pre-algebra concepts. If 2 numbers multiply and they're negative, one had to be positive and one had to be negative. The bigger one is going to be the addition sign. Since 32 is positive, my bigger number is positive. So I'm going to try 33 times negative 1. Hey, that worked. I got it on my first try. So watch what I'm going to do. This is 3x squared plus 33x minus 1x minus 11. If you put negative 1x first, the middle of our work will look different, but our final answer will be the same. All right, so Again, I'm splitting the middle. 32x is 33x minus 1x. That's true. So I pull out the GCF of the first two terms. That's a 3x. That's x plus 11. Write down the middle operation sign. Now, the next two, they don't have anything in common except 1. So you do put a 1. Okay, when they have nothing in common, we put 1, because 1 does go into both. Now watch, this is why we've been practicing that negative sign. Look, that's going to flip the symbol. This becomes x plus 11, because a negative 1 times a positive 11 is in fact negative 11. If you get going and you sort of shut your brain off temporarily and you put x minus 11, that should be a red flag. If those two parentheses aren't equal, you made a mistake. All right, so now the common factor is x plus 11. And then if I pull both of them out, it's like you erase the x plus 11s, and what's left is a 3x and a minus 1. Check your work when you factor. X times 3x is 3x squared. Negative 1x plus 33x is a positive 32x. 11 times negative 1 is negative 11. All right, we're going to do one more together, then I'm going to pause and let you try two of them on your own. So we're going to take a times the c. That's 11 times negative 2, so that's negative 22. And I wanted to add to negative 9. Again, the split the middle method is a times c and adds up to b. Negative 11 times 2. Yep, that works. So here we go. 11x squared minus 11x plus 2x minus 2. So I pull out the 11x and I get x minus 1. Always write down the middle operation sign. The GCF of the last two is a 2. Again, at this point, if your parentheses are not the same, you've made a mistake. So I get x minus 1 times 11x plus 2. Please, please remember the last step is check your work when you factor. X times 11x is 11x squared. 2x minus 11x is minus 9x. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. We did it correctly. All right, what questions do you have for me? A times C, and it adds up to B. All right, flip the page, and I want you to try 3 and 4. I'll pause and give you a head start. Yeah.
That third step that you did, would that be your final answer? Or are you just checking?
This is my final answer. This one is addition. This one's not multiplication yet.
So we have to put it like
So
that?
this is my final answer here. Okay, when I say multiply, it has to be one thing times another thing. Do you see the line above is technically addition and subtraction of two things?
Yeah. So then you have to put them multiplying as your final answer?
Yes, yeah, because the word factor means to multiply. If you're having trouble getting started, I'll start number 3. If you're doing fine, keep working on 4. And number 3, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 36 and add to 9. So here's the thing. Sometimes you don't get it right away. And that's okay. If you're somebody who is methodical and you need like a strategy or a plan, start with 1 times the number. If it's even, try 2 times the number. Do you know the divisibility of 3 trick? If you add the digits, 3 plus 6 is 9, so 3 goes into 9, so 3 goes into 36. You learned that back in about 5th grade. So I'm going to make this 2x squared plus 12x minus 3x minus 18. If you have it flipped, our final answers will be the same, but the middle work will be different. So I'm getting x plus 6 times 2x minus 3. So when you guys get these wrong, you have got to be checking your work. And usually it's just a sign error. X times 2x, 2x squared. Negative 3x plus 12x is 9x. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. All right, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to positive 60 but add to negative 19. I got this one right away. So this was 10x squared minus 15x minus 4x plus 6. So that's 5x. That's 2x minus 3. Always write down the middle operation sign. 2x, when it's a middle operation sign is a minus, that flips this one. So it's 2x minus 3 times 5x minus 2. I think you have a little bit of space here, and I want you to put extra example. And I want us to do one here. Okay, squeeze it in this slide, because this is as far as we're going to get today. And then we'll finish with perfect square trinomials tomorrow. I just want to work one kind of factoring technique at a time. So go ahead and put this in underneath number 3 and 4. You should have plenty of space in the box. Call it extra example, negative x squared minus x plus 12. If the leading term is negative, you need to factor it out. So I don't have any other GCF, but I can factor out the negative. So I get negative the quantity, x squared plus x minus 12. Hey, this one's the easy one. When the number in front of x squared is 1, I can go straight to what two numbers multiply to negative 12 but add to 1. So that's kind of the exception to the rule. If there's a number other than 1, we have to do the a times the c adds to b. But if it's a 1, x squared, we can handle that one. So this will be a 4 and a 3, and it's a plus and a minus, okay? But the big idea here is I wanted you to see that if the leading coefficient is negative, you've got to factor that out.